I totally fucked that up. Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Welcome. I'm good. I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy beyond, means, man. But, I'm good.
How was your weekend? How'd you enjoy the social blackout? Was it much of a blackout for you?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think it was. I tried to stay off of my own personal ones as much as I could, too. Not
Yeah.
the, personal messaging ones, but, Instagram and Twitter. But, because, how conditioned we are to, constant news, that's
Yeah.
the really annoying part. That I need to, fix and stuff like that. But, you know what? It takes time, so...
Yeah, it definitely does take time. Crazy time we're living in, eh? People stealing corner flags and shit.
Man, you know what? I think I'm happy. I'm happy that happened. It really did, and I'm glad the commentators, the likes of Jimmy Carragher and Gary Neville, were supportive of the supporters, regardless of them being them facing the threat of it. But I feel like they would have had some sort of safety because they would have recognized and oh, these people are on our side. The team isn't, right? But you know what? To a certain extent, if you value personal wealth and personal equipment and personal property over the negative impacts these owners have on communities, right, and on the teams, then people, I guess, need to kind of fix their priorities. So
Yeah, it seems like if you're a United fan, you completely understand what's going on. If not, it's more like, oh well, they didn't have to do that to get people's attention, but at the same time, you kind of do, right?
yeah,
Because fans' voices get lost so much these
easily
days. Yeah.
right. And I think they can't be in the stadium, they can't go to the matches, so there's no oh, we can't go to the stadium, so we will do a walkout or we'll put up banners, right?
Yeah.
And in previous seasons they've done that. They've protested against the Glazer family and the owners and everything, and they've taken to social media and stuff like that. I think this is just hopefully it's a start of a big footballing revolution in terms of more fan control on how teams are run in the Premier League. I hope so. I'm being super optimistic here. But at the same time, you know what? It's a good first step that the United fans and the local Manchester fans took.
Yeah. It's crazy that all of this just happened during the blackout. But you know what? Happy to be back potting. Happy to be active on all the socials again. Because now we're in the final stretch of the season, right? Anyways,
Yeah.
Ross, before we get started, do you want to remind listeners how they can message us and listen to our episodes?
Yeah, so you can message us on Twitter or Instagram. Our handle is @BanterB. On Discord, in the Draft PL channel, our username is BanterBoys, #6585. On Reddit, our username is u/Banta_boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on SoundCloud and on YouTube. Our handle or our channels on all of them are Banter Boys.
All right, listeners. So we are recording on Tuesday evening. This is episode 41. And just to remind you, we talk about everything draft related using the Fantrax platform and sometimes OFPL. Okay, so quick data dump before we outline what's gonna happen, etc. Key passes for this game week. Hyungmin Son had the most with 6. Second highest was 5. It was a 4-way tie between Benrahma, Cresswell, Odegaard, and Tielemans. For shots and shots on target, the most shots attempted this week was by Sterling. 7. 0 on target. But the second highest number of shots that were attempted was 6. Four-way tie again. Antonio had 2 of them on target. Bale had 5 of them on target. Kane only had 1 on target, and Maddison had 2 of them on target. And finally, the last category that we look at as well, accurate crosses into the box. Willian topped with this one with 4 of them. And then Pascal Gross from Brighton, came in second with 3. Alright, so this episode, we're going to have our standard first half where we do quick league catch-up, go through the Twitter questions, and run through those injury updates. We'll take our halftime pint, and then in the second half, we'll discuss the upcoming double game week, 35. We'll give you our predictions and suggest some free agent and, waiver wire picks. Alright, Ross. So before we catch up in our leagues, I don't think any trades went down, right? It was fairly quiet recently.
Yeah, I think now it's like just all about like people who've qualified for the playoffs, just like making picks off their waiver wire. At this point, if you're gonna trade with someone who hasn't qualified for the playoffs, seems like collusion to me. So
yeah, true. Did you make any interesting free agent waiver picks this week?
Sergio Aguero from in the OG league.
Yeah, I noticed that. You're not worried about the rotation.
I think maybe for the double game week, maybe not, and maybe realizing that like in game week 36, United might play, but Chelsea, Leicester, or Arsenal aren't playing. So you know what, taking a chance there.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, they're playing Newcastle. Yeah, it's an easy fixture. I mean, he does have Wayne Rooney's record to break as well. I think he's like 1 goal away from tying it. I think most goals for a single club or something like that. So, I mean, there is a possibility. But there's also the possibility that, they do that standard, let him play the amount of minutes that's on the back of his t-shirt, and then we'll do an early sub so he can get an applause. Because the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I'm just saying be cautious, because Pep tends to play the people that are going to play like the important games, right? Pep is all about that momentum. I don't think Pep really cares about legacies that much.
Yeah.
So just be cautious is all I'm saying.
Maybe in game week 38.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 36, 37, he might come useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right? Because you've got like an amazing forward line as is. So don't overthink it too much, Just be careful. Because I saw you also made the pick with Benjamin Mendy, right?
Yeah. Because again, same sort of thing. I need minutes on my team. Might risk it. Again, they don't have a tough fixture that game week because they're playing. Who are they playing? Are they playing Newcastle that week? Right.
So they're playing Chelsea in the double game week, and then the blank game week they're playing Newcastle. Yeah.
Newcastle. Yeah. So like, good chance of a double clean sheet against whoever my opponent might be. Right. Yeah. So I'm kind of increasing my numbers. Plus, I'm picking him up now because then there's a good chance if he starts over that in that blank game week, I'll lose out on him then. So
yeah, I was really excited to pick up Rudiger and Aspi in both leagues. I mean, Rudy in our OG and Aspi in our Banter Boys league. Genuinely surprised that both were available, to be honest. But I think very critical games for the rest of the season for Chelsea players, so I thought, why not? Let's take a punt. Alright, let's do some quick league catch-ups. Let us look at our OG league. Fam, we qualified for the playoffs.
I know. It sucked. It came at the expense of my brother, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess it sucks there, but at the same time, like, you know what? Like, my team, with only 9 players, had like the highest points per player, kind of. I was kind of doing the math. Like, I had 9 players play. I had 137. Daniel had 11 players play. Or 10 players play, and I had 146 or something. So I think I beat him there in terms of like points per player. I didn't have Jota play or Robertson play, so I was pretty ticked off about that. But not ticked off fantasy wise. I was happy bigger picture stuff in terms of what the protests kind of meant. I got super lucky because my opponent had Luke Shaw and Bruno, neither of them who played. James Rodriguez, who was in the starting lineup, just like had an injury, so I got lucky there as well. And no one to kind of like sub him out for. So, and yeah, my team was like on fire this past game week because started off with Johnny Evans getting the goal to
Again.
start off. Yeah, again, he's on some incredible form, man. If Johnny Evans plays well, my team plays well. That's kind of what it's coming down to. I kind of started off there, but then like the Chelsea game with the Timo assist, that was nice. Timo's getting on the stat sheets more often now, so
Yeah, and
that
I
was
saw you
pretty
picked
good.
up Gabriel Martinelli as well. I had dropped him recently because of the rotation issue.
Yeah,
So good pickup there. He's such an exciting player to watch as well.
4 key passes. So
Yeah, I mean, he was the most electric player on the pitch versus Newcastle, I thought. So,
yeah, and plus I saw the Europa squad, and I was like, he might actually, if he didn't play this game, he might actually play the other game. Adama Traore always gets me points. Ruben Neves always get me points. And yeah, that was kind of most of my like kind of highlights. Like my lowest points were by Stuart Dallas with 7.5. Everyone else, 7.5 there, 9.5 by Regulon, but like even my goalkeeper Ederson had 17 points. So my team was just on fire this week, man.
yeah, quite the statement win, beating your opponent by 99 points. Yeah, tough one to take, Kayam. But you know what? You're in the playoffs, so just focus on who you're gonna meet in that first round. For me, I managed to beat your brother as well, your younger brother. But I mean, we
Hmm.
talked about him being inactive, and I mean, the season's kind of done for him, and he's kind of just busy with life on a whole. So I mean, you said like I shouldn't worry. I should be able to qualify for playoffs easily. I'm not gonna lie, I was still worried, especially when Kai scored a brace for him. I thought that you know what, oh man, maybe it's gonna be one of those weekends again. But then
Hmm.
that beautiful, beautiful man, Serge Aurier, with that massive 37.5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept like a baby after that match. But yeah, I won 135 to 77. Big performers for me. Like I said, Aurier, Luka Dean, 23 points. Jack Harrison with 11. James Ward-Prowse and Hakim Ziyech, 14 and 10 each. DCL back in the goals, and Chris Wood with his penalty. So yeah, it was a tidy set of scores. Like, I mean, in terms of like my worst performers, like Dubravka, Coleman, Jacob Murphy, and Wilson, like yeah, around what 10 points with out of those four guys. But I kind of ended up dumping them out in the waivers. Like Dubravka I dumped out for Dino, the Manchester United goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Coleman I dumped out for Kyle Walker Peters, who actually I am really high on for this double game week. We'll talk about him a bit later though. And the other player that I brought in was Rudiger. And I dropped Jacob Murphy for him. So I think I made some good picks, Ross. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Southampton, yes, they're on the beach, as it almost is colloquially said. I didn't know this was a thing, players being on the beach. But like I think even past the double game week, even looking into when you want players, when you don't have the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, or Leicester playing, like players like that will definitely help up. And they're playing Fulham, so not the toughest
In the
game.
blank. Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly. So, good on that. Rudiger, I'm surprised you picked up Rudiger right now because you might need minutes later on in that blank game week. So, just something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, looking at the table, playoff sealed, right? I think your sixth position is fairly nailed as well. I don't think your position in the playoffs is going to change. Even if you win and the other results all go your way, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing, though, is from first to fifth, all the positions are up for grabs. So we have no idea who we're gonna face in the playoffs, like, for the rest of the season. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. And I'm not sure if you're hoping that certain fixtures swing a certain way, so you're avoiding particular managers. Because man, like, Neeraj is in a position to lose his perk. I don't know if he's aware of this.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
And like Zubain can easily get a bye for the playoffs as well, even though like Zubain was MIA for like a chunk of the season. So yeah, there's still a lot to play off. A lot to play for. No pun.
Yeah.
Alright, let's jump across to the Banter Boys League. So in the Banter Boys League, Ross, we faced each other, mate.
GG.
Do you want to talk about that?
I had you.
I know, like, if you look to overall head-to-head record, I'm pretty sure you've beaten me this season.
5-3. 5-3.
Oh, you checked. I love that you checked. Because you messaged me, I think it was prior to, like, the Chelsea game. You started with, like, oh, head-to-head record, bro, da-da-da-da. You chatted shit, you got banged, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny thing was, you could have won.
I could have won. Like, okay, so I had Antonio in my injury spot, which I couldn't really bring on as an auto sub, and he had 31 points, and Sanji ended up beating me by 22. So I could have easily won. It took Sanji 155 points to beat me, and I had the second highest points with 133. But you know what? Like, it happens, you know, you go up against the high score this game week. I'm still super, happy about my team. Bale got a hat trick. Johnny Evans again on my team again with the goal. Yuri Tillmans, like you said, 5 key passes. Patrick Bamford is a bit of a disappointment. 58 minutes, just 1 point. Diagne with the goal. Kelechi with the assist, right? So my team is on fire. I did drop Dani Ceballos and picked up Benji Mendy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we talked about, right?
Yeah.
I'm forgetting my own picks, but I picked up, just so I was like, you know what? Dani Ceballos won't play in... Actually, no, this isn't the OG league. This isn't a Banter Boys league.
Banter Boys, like, in the OG league, you picked up Mendy.
Benji,
Banter Boys league, I think you just dropped...
I just dropped Ceballos so I could bring on Antonio from my injury spot. That's why. And
yeah.
And I'm not too worried about that because again, Arsenal won't be playing that game week 36, so I need as many minutes as I can. So Antonio's there. I'm gonna see if I wanna maybe drop maybe the likes of Chilwell or Pulisic for the sake of minutes. Something that we talked about. You don't have these players playing, but you need a crucial win. Are you gonna like risk dropping these players? And I'm like, at this point, maybe. Chilwell and Pulisic are definitely 2 players that I might drop.
Wow. Big moves, man. I love it. All right. I mean, yeah, I had like a repeat performance for this matchup from Ore, Luka Dean. I had Kai for this matchup, so I was quite comfortable early on. But yeah, that Gareth Bale hat-trick did make me sweat a little bit, not gonna lie. But yeah, happy to get the win, happy to seal second place in our league. I think for you as well, like third place is nailed for you.
Yeah, it is.
And it's again a matter of 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're gonna have to wait to find out who you're gonna end up playing because they're all tied on 54 points. Special shout out to Ryan J. Mate, 7-win game streak. Like, it is so sad that you're not able to make the playoffs. Definitely one of the most informed teams at the moment, and hopefully you're there next season. But yeah, playoffs, baby.
Yeah.
That's what we're at.
I thought you know what? I almost came close to getting you off your second spot. Had I won this game week and won this upcoming game week too. But you know what? Like, it's fine. There's no extra perks for finishing second.
I mean, my biggest thing is if I win the final game against Pardalos, I get to finish on 69.
Nice. I can get behind that.
Alright, let's jump across to our perfect 11 team. Do you remember what standing we had last time? Wasn't it like 50 something or 60 something?
58 something?
I feel like it was like 50s, right? Well, we're 48th now, if that means anything. I feel like we got another green arrow, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite hilarious, because the state of our team was like really bad. Cause you know, with the whole social blackout and everything like that, I
Yeah.
kind of just set the team and was just like, whoever plays, plays. So like we had Kalechi and Vardy from the first game, and they like did decent, right? Got a combination of like nearly 21 points or so. But then I had KDB from that Crystal Palace early morning game on Saturday. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch that game. I like legit slept in.
Yeah,
So-
but like, business as usual, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. But KDB didn't even come on, so like solid 0 points. Like, but we had Gareth Bale and Serge Aurier. So those guys saved our game week massively because
Yeah,
we
man.
had like the likes of Dubravka, Mateus Pereira, and Dwight McNeil, who kind of combined for like 5 points in total. So we had some, like half our team was basically 0 points, and the other half was like 130 points. So, progress.
Yeah.
We call it that. But definitely because I know I did message you about Perfect 11, but I think all of us were just like, you know what, we're just gonna take it easy, not really study fantasy too much this week. Just social blackout. Let's stick to our guns that sort of way. But you know what, this
Yeah.
week I'm definitely coming after you because double game week, we have the potential to make massive ground in that league. All right?
exactly.
Okay. All right, Ross.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Twitter questions then.
Sanji, do you want to give your special shout out first?
Yeah, so I hope I'm not butchering this name, but Suhail Aroom at Suhal Aroom. Thank you so much for the weekly support, all your likes, retweets. Really appreciate it. It's one of those small little things that kind of keeps us going. So yeah.
So our first question is from Prashant at Prash_CFC. Best Crystal Palace defender for double game week. I wanted to up the game. The next 3 fixtures for them are gold according to Prashant, and he wants to kind of discuss this a bit.
Yeah, so Sheffield United, Southampton, and Aston Villa are Crystal Palace's next 3 fixtures. Tasty fixtures. But Ross, I'm gonna be honest, mate. I am staying far away from Crystal Palace, other than Christian Benteke.
Yeah, and like the only thing I can kind of see is that when you don't have players from Leicester, Arsenal, or Chelsea play, maybe like United, we don't know yet. That's kind of up in the air at the moment when they have to reschedule the Liverpool United game. But some minutes might definitely help up, especially if you do playoffs and that's your first playoff game. But at the same time, like I don't think any defensive assets super stand out for Crystal Palace. And again, like maybe pick up what's his face? PVA. Yeah, in the last game.
But he's playing Liverpool in the last game.
You know what? I don't think that's a tough fixture.
Oh man. I mean, but the thing is, like, Mitchell is doing that whole rotation thing with PVA, right? Like, and so many players are like out of contract and this and that, and it's just like a bit of a shit show right now at Crystal Palace. Honestly, like, if they didn't have enough points, mate, like, I'm pretty sure when we started recording this season, the prediction that I had for relegation was Crystal Palace.
Same.
So, I get that the fixtures are nice, but at the same time, it's not that, like, Sheffield United are just gonna roll over because McGoldrick is, like, talking about, like, fighting for places for next season, right? And with Southampton as well, we thought they were gonna be on the beach against Leicester. They were down to 10 men, and they played solid, mate. So, like, I don't think it's gonna be that much a walk in the park for Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Next question.
Next question is from Andreas Lol at who are the double game week players. Andreas, just wait for a bit. Listen, we are gonna do predictions and player picks from all the teams who have double game weeks this week. So keep listening.
I just love how he writes his messages. All right, next question.
The next question. So next question we have from at Sigur Beyond 5. Will Ollie Watkins and or Rafinha be a first round pick next season in 10 or 12 team leagues? What do you think the first 10 picks will look like now, excluding all potential major signings, Haaland, etc.?
Interesting question. Do you want to like maybe take turns? Let's just like knock some picks out, like top 10.
Knock some picks out.
Yeah, okay.
First two are obvious.
Is it? Who's the first pick?
KDB.
What if he gets injured again? He's playing the Euros and the Winter World Cup.
And will the Premier League pause during the Winter World Cup? Well, actually, will the Winter World Cup actually happen during the summer because they're also doing AFCON in 2022 as well?
No idea, bro.
I don't know what's going on, man. But honestly, I think like on paper, Bruno and KDB go number 1, number 2 pick, depending on who you feel more closer to or who you think can get more points. I think those are number 1, number 2.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Right? On paper.
Yeah.
On paper.
Who you gonna go third?
Jack Grealish.
Yay. If he stays fit. I think, well, he should, right? It's just, it was fucked this season because the amount of games and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And like the weird gaps and everything. And like, you know what? Maybe Dean Smith won't risk him that much for the end of the season, especially considering Euros are coming up and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I think Jack Grealish is a solid first top 5 pick, man.
So, who are you going to put next? Mo Salah?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I waited a bit too long on that, yes. But considering that if he stays and if he's like, you know, he's a consistent 20 plus goal scorer, right? Almost. So that's a great thing to have on your resume as a top 5 pick.
The only other Liverpool asset I'd want before Mo is, you know who.
Yeah, T-Bebe.
Yeah. Like standard, bro.
Yeah, especially if he doesn't get picked for the Euros, you'll be super fresh.
Oh, bro, 100%.
For the start of the season.
Like, definitely round 1 pick. Like, I always look forward to picking T-Bebe. How about I throw one into the hat, Mason Mount?
Yeah, that was my next pick. I think Mason Mount will definitely solidify his Chelsea spot.
Yeah. I think, you know what, like Sigur Bjorn suggested, Rafinha should be thrown into that discussion as well.
Based off like stat production alone, right? Not necessarily goals and assists. Same with Jack Grealish, right? Jack Grealish obviously this season obviously had the goals and assists, but like his points, like his creative outlet with key passes, corners and stuff like that alone, maybe a late, like a 10-11 pick sort of, right? You pick, if you're number 10, maybe Rafinha is your 11th pick.
Yeah.
Or he's your 10th pick.
Yeah, Rafinha would, Watkins would easily go second round, especially if Jack Grealish is fit the entire season.
Yeah. Like, this is his first season in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think you can see increased production or output in future seasons.
Exactly. Now from 6 to 10.
6 to 10. Who else is there left?
What is there a defender that comes in 6th? Do you think Trent goes 6th?
I think Trent will go first round for sure. Just because of set pieces, he can score, clean sheets when Van Dijk is back. Yeah, like the thing is, you're talking about next defender though, next player or defender outfielder doesn't matter, right? Like next top 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to throw in like Sadio Mane, right? Just because like you assume that he's not gonna be shit again.
Yeah,
like,
on paper, right? On paper, like you would expect Sadio Mane to be hopefully back to his best.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I mean, if not Mane, then Kane or Son, one of those boys.
Yes, definitely, right? Kane or Son. I think Kane or Son might actually argue for like a top 5 pick too. Right? Depending on who you feel kind of more attached to. Maybe a Chelsea fan goes for Mason Mount and instead, but maybe someone who's looking at it a bit more objectively might go for Kane.
Also, depending on who's coaching Spurs at the time. To me, I'm not gonna lie, the coach also matters a lot, right? Because, like, we're gonna talk about this in a bit, but, like, you look at, like, who played under Lampard versus who played under Tuchel, right?
Exactly, yeah.
how the team starts with their manager, like, that manager maybe is like Bielsa, where he just rolls out the same 11 all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or they're as bad as Pep, where they're constantly rotating like Potter.
Yeah.
So yeah, manager also plays a role in picks as well. So this answer can change, right? In a few months.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of round off the last set of like top 10 sort of players, Riyad Mahrez, I think, still managed to go into that top 10 discussion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can throw Adama and ASM as well, just because of their ability to generate ghost points like nothing.
Yeah. I think Rashford might wanna have a say as a top 10 pick.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
He
Yeah.
can go quiet sometimes,
Yeah.
obviously, who doesn't, right? But
I'll tell you who to definitely avoid: Anthony Martial.
oh man, I feel almost bad for you.
Almost. But you know what? My ability to recover from shite picks is amazing. You're gonna have to say that, right? So
Yes, definitely. Definitely. All right. Okay. But yeah, thank you for the question. I hope we got most of the picks there. It really kind of depends on what you're looking for, explosiveness versus consistent points.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yo, before we jump on to the next question, I didn't want to like just completely dash away Andreas's question, but like if we were like to quickly talk about like the double game week players sort of stuff, right? I mean, you got to consider the fact that there's a blank in game week 36, right? So the teams that are most likely going to blank in 36 who do double are Arsenal, Chelsea, and Leicester. So I mean, I know we're going to talk about picks later on and stuff, but I just kind of want to mention the fact that, you got to be mindful of the fact that these teams are going to blank. And we haven't heard about the rescheduling for the Liverpool United game as well, right? So Liverpool could end up with a double game week in that blank game week.
Yeah.
So if we were going to suggest players, maybe like considering both 35 and 36, because like who's to say you're going to get the players that you need for playoffs. You might want to look at teams like Aston Villa, teams like Everton, teams like Southampton. Like, even though, like, we say that, they're kind of on the beach, but really they're still not really on the beach, and they kind of prove that, right? So we'll get to those assets later on, but I just didn't want to, like, completely just be like, Andres, like...
Sanji,
Yeah.
It really kind of depends, because I know some leagues play with playoffs, some leagues don't play with playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? We play with playoffs, so our playoffs start game week 36, where the blank game week is, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not really going to focus on any picks at the moment, because I'm going to stay 6th in my OG league, and I'm going to stay 3rd in my Banter Boys league. Right now, I'm focusing on is game week 36 is when my first playoff matchup is, right? So for me, I'm honestly looking forward to game week 36 more than I am looking game week 35, regardless of it being a double, because of the playoff situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get as many players and as many minutes, considering I have the likes of Tielemans, Evans, and Kelechi in my Banter Boys league. I have Luke Shaw, who might or might not play. I have Pulisic, who won't play. Ben Chilwell, who won't play. So I'm trying to rack up my minutes right now, because maybe people might be focusing on double game weeks, but forget about the game week 36, which is the more important game to me.
Yeah.
So
good point. Yeah, good point. All right, let's continue with the questions then. I think our next one is from Robbie P at a team of Karas.
Yeah, so Benrahma was in beast mode yesterday. Do you think he nails down a starting spot now?
So there was a reply from like a community member, King Arthur FC at King Arthur FC.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying how no, because he thinks Ogbonna will come back in for Diop, Rice will come back in for Lanzini, Bowen will come back in for Benrahma, and that should be David Moyes' strongest 11. Also, Benrahma came off early, right? I think on the 77th minute mark.
Yeah. So
listen, I like when people are like, oh, Antonio's back, he's got a brace, oh, amazing, he almost got a hat-trick, I appreciate that people are like, you know what, yes, West Ham have good attacking assets, but you gotta consider the opposition. We've been saying that Burnley has been playing very, very open. And it could just be the fact that they played Burnley, right? and the fact that Benrahma just had a lot of open space to kind of attack. And
Yeah, because he was playing out on the wing, in like a wing back almost, right?
kind of, yeah, yeah. But like Burnley, like even for the chance that Antonio had to like even get his hat trick, like the balls that Benrahma kept putting in, there was like very little to no pressure. Like at times, it felt like Burnley was struggling. Burnley's midfield was struggling to keep up with their back line because of how high pressing and forward they're trying to play now. Burnley, like they're just the transition to defend again is like it's non-existent. So they're getting fucked
Mm-hmm.
right on the counter a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could just be one of those, like a one-off game, you know? It's just the opposition was an easy opposition. That's why Benrahma played well. I wouldn't be dropping, like, tons of fab to go pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are, like, some of the Fantrax questions, by the way, that we received. We got a couple of OFPL questions, though, Russ.
Mm-hmm. So our first question about OFPL is from FPL underscore Tractor Boy at FPL Tractor Boy. With Grealish looking to be back, is Barkley a good choice, or El Ghazi / Traore are still better picks?
Is Grealish back?
I don't know. Dean Smith says like he's back every week and then he's not back. Like I think because his flag changes or his status goes from red to yellow or red to orange and then back to red every game week. So
This is like LeBron James on fantasy basketball. Every game
yeah,
week or every game, they're like, "Oh, he's
questionable.
injury." Yeah, questionable, bro. Like
Questionable. Game time decision.
yeah, like, but LeBron actually plays. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Man, I've honestly just assumed that Jack Grealish is done for the season. Like, why are they really gonna rush him back?
With the Euros coming up, I'm sure Southgate and Dean Smith have had a conversation on like, okay, what's his injury status and like,
Yeah.
do we want to risk it and stuff like that. You obviously still want to be a bit fresh for the Euros, right?
Mhm.
Like you want to have some games under you, but at the same time, you obviously don't want to aggravate any injury that you would be out for the whole competition or the whole summer. So
Yeah, hopefully he gets to make the Euros. Such a talent, man. But
Mhm.
okay, let's assume that Grealish is back then. Out of the three names that he suggested, Barkley, El Ghazi, and Traore, do you want to maybe rate them in order?
FPL wise, El Ghazi, Traore, and Barkley. Fantrax wise, Traore, Barkley, and El Ghazi.
Interesting.
Only because El Ghazi is more goal minded.
Yes, very greedy.
Yeah, Traore will get ghost points. Barkley will get some ghost points. Maybe win a penalty here or there, but El Ghazi might be the one that scores for you. But that's why FPL maybe I rate him a bit higher. But on Fantrax, I think I look at the way his stats kind of accumulate, and if he doesn't score, he doesn't get you that many points.
Well, and he's on pens, right? El Ghazi. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
also that. So, I mean, I feel like there's other teams and other assets that you could probably focus your time and energy on other than Aston Villa and kind of just waiting on Grealish if he's back, if he's not back. Because that's, if he's back, then you're dealing with rotation headache, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while he's not back, you're like scrunting for points. Like, it's not gonna come from like one source. But yeah. Alright.
But yeah, thank you for asking. So our next question, and this is our first of a kind from Discord
Whoop, whoop.
at Valtier. Banter boys, here's a pod question for you. What to do with Chelsea defense? Tuchel roulette is spinning. Aspie and Rudy, which I both have, got rested in the last Premier League match. Rudy has a facial injury, quote unquote. Should I try to change them to Silva, Alonso, James? I almost said James there. Christensen, Zuma. Sanji, do you want to give this a go?
Bro, I will like specifically write it as Hamez. You know that.
Okay. James Milner.
There you go. Yeah, so I did a little bit of like, I want to say analysis. I literally just did one equation though, I'm not gonna lie. But I looked at the minutes played by the Chelsea defenders Since Tuchel came in, and he came in, I think, January 26th. I believe the first game that we had played since then was the 0-0 to Wolves on January 27th. So, in terms of the most minutes that the defenders have played, Aspi has played the most, then Rudiger, both completing over 1,000 minutes. Then, the interesting one, Christensen, 919 minutes. He's actually played quite a bit. Then Reece James on 828 minutes. Ben Chilwell, 666 minutes. That devil is keeping Marcos Alonso benched, 641 minutes. And then Zuma and Thiago Silva are propping up the table with 540 minutes and 423 minutes respectively. So, the thing is, I still wanted to look a bit deeper into maybe how many minutes they're playing per game, because Tuchel is rotating a lot, like Valtia said, right?
Yeah. And injuries.
Yeah, and injuries like to Thiago Silva, right? So,
Exactly.
if we look at the minutes per game on average basis, the top three players are actually Kurt Zuma, Rudiger, and Aspi. Zuma and Rudiger average at least 90 minutes every time they play. Aspi kinda just under, like 89.6 minutes, let's say.
Basically 90.
Yeah, basically 90, right? And then the players who come in next are Christensen and Ben Chilwell with 83.5 minutes, let's say, per match. And then propping it up is Marcos Alonso, Thiago Silva, and Reece James is actually in last. Surprised by any of that, Ross?
I think the Reece James ones, I think I'm really kind of looking at it as the drop off or the gain from the Lampard era, right? Because if we kind of keep that into like perspective, the biggest gain of minutes was probably by Marcos Alonso.
I would say Rudiger, mate.
Oh yes, Rudiger and Alonso in the sense that like you would have never expected Alonso to play.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, I forgot Alonso existed at our club when Lampard was in
exactly.
charge.
And maybe the biggest drop off was like Reece James. You know, he played 1100 minutes under Lampard, and under Tuchel he played 800 minutes. That's 300 minutes kind of gone right there. And like Zuma played 540 minutes under Tuchel, and under Lampard, he played 1,300 minutes. So, like, you know, keeping that kind of into mind, like, you know, maybe, you know, he likes German players more. You know, Rudiger is German.
So, I do have one suspicion as to why Reece James' minutes are so low. So, towards the end of Lampard's stint, do you remember there were talks about Reece James potentially being out for the rest of the season? There was like fluid build-up, knee injury, so Lampard wanted to kind of rotate him and manage him a bit better. I think Tuchel's just doing that. Tuchel's just managing the situation, trying to get the best out of him, trying to manage his minutes, and just make sure that he doesn't get fucked, right? For the next season, sort of thing. And I think that is a major indicator as to why Reece James's minutes are so low. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then what about the Rudiger versus Zuma one?
So the Rudiger Zuma one, I think if you watch the both players under Tuchel, Zuma recently, you can see he has a mistake or two in him. There's that youth, there's that naivety. Like, he still has a lot to learn, sort of thing. Because there are times where he'll try to dribble out a defense of the ball, lose it, and put us in a fucked situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rudiger will dribble out of the defense now, and he looks like absolute class doing it. And no, I think, yes, that German connection helps. Being yelled at in German surely helps a lot more than being yelled at in English, right? I'm sure Kai and Timo agree to that point. But yeah, I think it's just the fact that like seniority is just taking precedence, right? And Zuma and Christensen and co will get their time. It's you play the best players that you have, and you know what? It's one of those things that I said like months ago. Like I honestly thought even when Rudiger was doing the most amount of shit under Lampard, I was like, I feel like Rudiger is still one of our best players, even though yes, there are times that it looked like we still had David Luiz at the club. But
do you think that it's a formation change too. Tuchel strictly played a back three, versus Lampard was back four, back three, depending on what he felt like and depending on who the opponent was.
Yeah, I was very disappointed that Lampard didn't roll out the back three as much in his second season. It was something that he did quite a lot in his first season. So yeah, it definitely does help with the change in formation. It allows our multiple centre backs to get more game time. And it's just rotation is much better. Because even you look at the likes of Aspi, when Aspi was playing under Lampard, he looked like he was washed up, like he was done with the season. Like he looked super old, super slow. And now that, Tuchel has gone back to the back three, Asby has a new lease on life, and look at him, he's even playing further up in that system as well, right? Something that I don't think would have ever happened under Lampard. So, yeah, I love the fact that we're playing back three, back five, whatever you want to call it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the last note on Aspie being rested the last game, because I have Aspie in one of my leagues, I think it's because the last two games, the Champions League game and the previous Premier League game, he played almost 90 minutes or 80 minutes plus in both of those games. So it might just be resting, especially considering he didn't play in a back three. He played as the right wing back, so a lot more intensive, like athletically. So just to kind of manage the minutes there, realizing that maybe you didn't have maybe you want to save him up for your Madrid game and for your upcoming games against the likes of Arsenal and company.
Yeah, and I think he's just playing more of his defenders, right? He's just strengthening up defensively is what I kind of get from Tuchel playing Aspi in that right wing back, right? Definitely managing his minutes because the important games you want your best players because we also have the cup final against Leicester as well. So I'm sure you might even see a bit of rotation for that. Honestly, I don't even know the date. We should know the date for that, right? Hold on. Let me look up the date. Cup final.
Isn't it the 20-something?
Versus Leicester. Hold on.
Is there gonna be another blank game week during playoffs?
15th of May. Is there any
games? Okay, so just that's the game week 36.
Oh, yeah, so that could be why they're blanking. Oh, go figure. Wow, Banter Boys with the best info,
Logic, yeah. So, that could
be another thing that you want to kind of be cautious of. So even your Leicester players, they might get rotated because of the cup competition too. You never know, right? All right. That's enough Chelsea talk, though. We don't want to make this a Chelsea pod. Ross, let us run...
As much as you might want to.
Let us run through the player status updates. All right, guys. So remember... Oh, by the way, listeners, fans on Twitter, thank you so much for submitting your questions. Really enjoyed going through them. So going on to the injury table. So remember, listeners, we're getting this information from premierinjuries.com. There's an injury table on there. Go check it out. If you can't find the latest information there, follow Ben Dinnery on Twitter. He is the injury guru. Okay? So we're running through all the clubs. Okay. For Arsenal, Tierney and Lacazette are back in training again. David Luiz, he had a tweak on his hamstring, so we might not see him until the latter end of the season. And you know what? They might be saving him for that Europa League final if they make it. Aston Villa, Grealish might be back, may not be back. Who knows? Brighton, Lallana has an outside chance for making the Wolves game. For Burnley, Wood came off early in his last game versus West Ham. It should just be a knock, though. He should be fit. For Chelsea, Rudiger, I know he missed out in that game, but he apparently was past fit for the Champions League game. He might be back in the Prem as well, but playing with a mask. Kovacic had a slight setback, so Jorginho and Conte might be a bit more nailed moving forward. For Crystal Palace, Zaha complained of a groin issue, so we might not see him in that double game week, right? Don't think he's 100%. We all know Crystal Palace are a totally different... Well, not even want to say beast. I guess like a little kid without Zaha. Yeah. Like they're nothing without Zaha. For Everton, Doucouré could be back in 2 weeks. Very positive news there. James had a tight calf muscle. That's why he pulled out of that fixture, out of the warm-up. He could be fit, but we never know in a double game week. He might just play the one game, be rested for the other one. For Fulham, RLC missed out because he was playing against his parent club, so he'll be back. For Leeds, Cooper finished his suspension, so he should be back. Rafinha is in the final stages of recovery, so maybe like a day-to-day being assessed sort of thing. Also, Calvin Phillips missed that last game. He apparently picked up a knock behind his knee and was like a last-minute flag. Ross, that's actually one thing I kind of want to talk about in the second half when we talk about picks and Leeds assets and starting your players. Calvin Phillips, right? So just remind me. Continuing with the injuries, Leicester City. Evans complained of his plantar fascia be like hurting towards the final moments of that game. So he's kind of being assessed for that. So Ross, one to watch because I know you're doubled down on Evans as an asset.
Yep.
For Liverpool, Nathaniel Phillips is apparently back from injury. So
He was supposed to start.
yeah, so Liverpool have no like serious injuries at the moment. Man City, Stones I believe has one more game because of his suspension. Manchester United, no injuries. Newcastle United, Shaw will be suspended because of his red card versus Gabriel Martinelli. Willock missed out because they faced Arsenal, so he'll be back in contention. Sheffield United, I'm not going to talk about. Southampton, Vestergaard suspended until 11th of May. Minamino is going to miss out because they're playing parent club Liverpool. Bertrand still has a cough strain, so just being assessed day by day, just kind of keep an eye on that. Ings thigh strain still, unknown return date. For Spurs, no real injury concerns. West Brom, Maitland-Niles won't be able to play against Arsenal because, parent club issues. For West Ham, Masuaku probably expected back 15th of May. Rice is like day-to-day and Ogbonna is being assessed as well. For Wolves, Moutinho had an ankle injury that he's still kind of recovering from. He might be back on May 9th. Ait Nouri as well came off early with a knock being assessed. And Bowley, apparently there was some talk about heart issues. So that's why he missed out. I hope it's nothing too serious, man.
What I read was that coming back from fitness because he had COVID, his heart rate would rise way too quick, way too fast when he exercised. So he is clear of COVID now, but because that fitness thing of like that heart rate rising too, because they're athletes and their heart rates shouldn't rise too quick,
Yeah.
right? So it is definitely a concern there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, like it's all good and he can be healthy soon.
Yeah, bro. Hope you're good. Alright, Ross. I think now is the perfect time to take our halftime pint. We will be back with prediction results, predictions for the next game week, and some picks. And we are back. Alright, Ross, so prediction results from last time. You won 3-4.
Oh, nice. I actually did.
I mean, altogether our predictions were actually really terrible.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm surprised. That's why I'm surprised I won.
Yeah, so I think you won because you got one of the scores correct again. I think it was the Man City score, I think.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0 to City.
Yeah, so GG on that. Alright. I mean, for the picks predictions, we can start off, there's double game week. I'm gonna, we're gonna discuss the teams, right? While we're making our picks. We'll do it as quickly as possible because of time and the amount of fixtures that we gotta go through. Alright, so starting us off with Leicester versus Newcastle for this upcoming game week. So last game week, Leicester was away to Southampton on the Friday. It was a 1-1 draw for us. So Leicester was unchanged for that game. Thomas played again. He keeps benching Ricardo Pereira, but it allows Castagna to play on the right, who is way more threatening on the right side than the left side, in my opinion. Soyuncu, by the way, I talk about, being worried about, he has those nervy sort of moments. He looked like he was going to fuck up when they were being forced with that high press that Southampton was playing.
Yeah.
It looked like he was just going to give away the ball and concede. So I'm just saying, like, that could happen in the final 3 fixtures. And, he could be a reason why they don't qualify for the Champions League again. But we saw Fofana take his Ramadan break. One of many players like Otasawi as well took it. Do you know any other players that you noticed that took it? Aurier was one.
Pogba during, I think, the Europa League game. I'm trying to remember. I remember someone sharing with me on Discord, or not Discord, on
Signal.
Signal, yeah. Benteke, I think. Benteke,
Ah, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Nice.
But I think we might see it as a more common occurrence to accommodate players who might want to break their fast
So
during game time.
it was very interesting to see Brendan Rodgers take advantage of the break to give instructions to Madison. So it kind of reminded me of the water break that we had last season, right? So are
Yeah,
all clubs given this Ramadan sort of you're allowed to break fast, or is it only if you have Muslim players? Because I'm like Tuchel, bro. Like, what's going on?
play
Like,
Zuma, play
yeah,
Zuma.
there you go. Like,
But you also got to be playing at the time when the fast breaks, right? So
yeah,
like,
that's true.
you can't just be like, yeah, we're gonna take a break for our fasting players, even though it's still the sun is still up. So
Yeah, yeah.
opportune moments.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Fofana got taken off at halftime as well. So I'm not sure if that was because of Ramadan or because it was actually like a tactical change because Southampton were down to 10. And they were playing a back four as well. So he kind of just wanted to get more attacking players forward. Nacho again, still heavily involved. It was a pity Vardy couldn't score. He came really, really close again. But the
Mm-hmm.
entire game, he just seemed off it. Like, touches were going loose. Like
Yeah,
the balls that they were trying to put him through for those runs, he would not get it on like the first touch, and it was just like a weird showing from him. He looked like he was getting better, but it was still not like 100% Jamie Vardy sort of
yeah,
thing.
exactly. And like, you know what? With the 10 men, you would expect Vardy to go like take full chance of playing against losing your center back, right?
Yeah.
Or for Southampton. So kudos to Southampton for sure, but you know what? I think barring that Crystal Palace game, Jamie Vardy overall has looked just a bit off his step in the last few games.
Yeah, and we look at Newcastle. They had their home game versus Arsenal. They lost 2-0. Terrible record against Arsenal, apparently, which was proven right yet again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I want to say they're safe, but they're not really safe. Their performance was just like, eh. Like, they kind of just dropped the ball
You,
again.
you know what it is?
Well,
No Joe Willock.
true. Also, Arsenal was on the rise that game week, right? So
Arsenal was on the rise that game week, right? They double dipped last week, last 2 weeks, and now they're on the rise.
I mean,
So
Newcastle's next couple of games are really tough, right? I think they've got like Leicester and Man City, but then they end the season with Sheffield and Fulham. So it's really a weird one how you're gonna handle your Newcastle assets. Like, I have Callum Wilson, and I think I'm gonna hold him. Like, I was tempted to get Aguero, but like, I feel like every time Newcastle score, Callum Wilson is involved. So I was like, you know
hmm
what? For playoffs, maybe it's worth just holding on to him because of his like goal involvement percentage.
yeah,
And he's on penalties as well, right? So who knows? I feel like Newcastle, they have one more win in them for the rest of the season, right? So I'm gonna bank on that. All right, let's make some predictions, Ross.
1-1. Joe Willock's gonna come out and score right at the end,
To give the draw again, right? To steal
or
the
maybe
points
the
again.
win. I don't know.
I do really appreciate the fact that you have Leicester to drop points, but oh man, I think it's gonna be a Leicester win this one. Like, just because the Newcastle defense is so bad, man. So I'll
Yeah.
give it a 2-1 win to Leicester. What about the picks that you're gonna suggest?
I mean, it's kind of the same idea, especially if it's a double game week. Players like O'Brien, and I think I did get proven a bit right, and I'm going back and looking at the points right now. Depending on the situation Albrighton comes into, he's like a James Milner-esque player, right? He'll come in to either control the game, or he'll come in as like a super sub sort of player to kind of get something from the game, right? So he can play both roles really well. I don't think he's gonna start. I think Rogers has found a really good balance with playing Kalechi and playing Tielemans, who are extremely on form with like the amount of creativity and like goals and assists they're providing. And Vardy, I don't think you drop Vardy regardless, right? You play Vardy on the expectation that he's gonna get you 3 goal. He could get you easily 3 goals, right? So O'Brien, one of those players, especially if you're playing with auto subs, he'll come on one game. Maybe they go down early, and he comes on and plays plays a crucial role in getting them back into the game. So yeah, 15% owned.
Yeah, and the player I'm gonna suggest, Matt Ritchie, 22% owned. Key passes, crosses, like set pieces. I feel like anything good that Newcastle does, Ritchie might be a part of it. Just his energy, man. Like, he's gonna keep fighting for Newcastle. And he just a good ghost points getter. And someone you might want to consider for your playoffs. Alright, Ross, let's look at the next fixture then. Leeds versus Spurs. So quick look at the teams that are playing in this game. Leeds had an away loss to Brighton, 2-0. No Calvin Phillips played in this. Cock was playing, so Bielsa put his cock out. Llorente.
I really hope you keep this in, man.
Llorente, I don't know if you noticed when he tried to catch Sanchez off guard with his Beckham-esque attempt from like the halfway line.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Leeds were not good in the first half. Like, the only attacking threat was Harrison, I'd say. By the way, Dallas took a corner. I don't know if you picked up on that.
You know what?
I feel like I saw him take a corner.
But like without Calvin Phillips though, so...
Yeah, that's true. Good point. By the way, thoughts on Meslier as one of the goalkeepers of the season? What do you think? If Emmy didn't have his sort of season, right?
I think he's a great shot stopper, but
his distribution is amazing as well. I don't know if you saw that one throw he had. It went from like his box to the halfway line.
But he can often, if they want to play out from the back, he can always put his team into trouble. So I feel like a lot of his saves are his own mistakes that he's recovering from, right? Yeah. So, not a lot of his saves, but
it's happened quite a bit this season, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, it's just one of those things where I think, but he's super young. What, he's like 21, 20 years old or something? Young, right? He looks super young, like, and he's playing. Killer. Like, exactly. So, I think there's a lot of growth and a lot of potential there.
Yeah. But, I mean, in the end, Leeds were kind of toothless. And the thing I wanted to talk to you about was, Bamford came off before the 60th minute mark. No Calvin Phillips. And I'm pretty sure I heard a sort of stat that goes around when Calvin Phillips doesn't play, Leeds tends to lose more games than they should, right? I think out of 9 that Calvin Phillips didn't play, they lost 7-1-2. So lineups come out, during playoffs. Do you think you'd potentially bench Bamford now, at least consider benching Bamford, given who plays and who doesn't play in the starting lineup?
That's a really good question. But I feel like Bamford also has his Vardy-esque moments, right? You play him just for the sake of, like, he can go off and score a couple of goals. He can win a penalty and might even, like, take that penalty too. That's my only thing, is that if I have the chance of auto subs, maybe I might risk that, but benching him, but at the same time, like, he can still go off.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to Kun versus Newcastle and Bamford versus Burnley, you might have a bit of a tough choice, maybe.
Conundrum. Yeah. Let's see. Well, first off, if Kun starts, right? Then
That's the other thing. And Bamford should start. Anyways, let's look at Spurs quickly. They had a home win versus Sheffield United. 4-0 win. By the way, I love how last week when we got the question... Banter boys, now that, Mourinho's gone and Mason is starting, who you gonna pick from Spurs? And we were like in unison, Gareth Bale. And like, he just comes and scores a fucking hat-trick, like with ease. So thank you, Gareth. Really appreciate that, mate. By the way, Ali starting this game as well. Did you see the man's dreadlocks, yo?
I know. I was like, whoa, that's what happens when you're out of the spotlight for like, and you can't go to a barber, man. Like, looked good on him.
Yeah,
like not like Abba-esque, right?
No. Much better than Abba-esque.
Yeah.
But you know what? He looked hella rusty.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But still put up 11 points. Like, What the fuck? But you know what? It might be, again, one of those situations where they played an easy team, right? So take it with a grain of salt because he looked really, really bad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
really bad. Um, Kane didn't look sharp either. He fluffed and missed a lot of easy chances, I thought. It felt like Spurs, there was no real zip to their play. They were kind of casual on the ball, and it feels like a better team can actually be able to, mash up Spurs. Because I don't really consider Ryan Mason as a manager that if the game gets tough, he's going to be tactically, I guess,
Aware.
aware. Yeah, tactically aware to be able to make changes or tweak things to get a result from the game. Right? So, honestly, if Calvin Phillips was fit next game and Rafinha was back, I honestly think Leeds could probably get a result against Spurs, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw Sheffield go, like, with the quality that they were missing up top, but they were able to find a lot of spaces on the counter, even when Spurs went up 1-0, 2-0, right?
Yeah.
Like, they weren't controlling the ball at all. And, like, it looked out that the Aurier-Bale partnership kind of worked for them.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Yeah, and, like you talk about that connection, Aurier looked amazing that game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy who was fasting, right?
Yeah.
So I was really glad to pick him back up on waivers because you said how you almost grabbed him. So I was really happy to hold on to him. But let's make some predictions, I guess, for this game.
Yeah. 3-1 to Spurs. I think I'm keeping in mind that Rafinha and Calvin Phillips probably won't be back. So
yeah, that's a good shout if they're not back. So you know what? I'll make my prediction if they're back, assuming they're back. I'll go with the Ross special, 2-2.
2-2.
All right. So the next game, Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace. Very, very quick notes. Sheffield United, they lost 4-0 away, right? Like Ross said, they had some good chances. My favorite thing about their game was the sub that they made in the second half. Burge and Burke off for Brewster and Bogle. Oh, what a tongue twister. By the way, the flex stamp on Giovanni Lo Celso, how is that not a red card?
Yeah, you know what? VAR doing VAR things. So I don't want to go into VAR again, but
it's a varsicle. But yeah, Crystal Palace, they played Man City at home. They lost 2-0. The only thing I wrote down was Benteke mistimed a glorious chance. Was because I did not watch that game. From what I heard, they started the game well, but you know what? Dropped off. City dominated and Palace just... Yeah, you really don't want assets from Palace, man, other than Benteke. You want to make some...
Especially if Zaha sell out.
Yeah, if Zaha's actually out, honestly, Sheffield United to win this, right? So let's make some predictions. Let's make, predictions if Zaha plays, if Zaha doesn't play. Which one do you want to take?
I'll take if Zaha doesn't play.
All right.
I'll do 1-0 to Sheffield.
Love it. So then if Zaha plays... I'm going to go for a draw then. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Because like you said, right, Sheffield United, they're still able to kind of create some stuff like they did against Spurs. So if they can do it against Spurs, maybe they can do it against Palace. All right, next game, Manchester City versus Chelsea. This is a tasty one. So let's look at City. Their game was away to Palace, 2-0 win. Pep rotation again. Kun and Torres in the goals. Remember the stat that we pulled out about Sterling having 7 shots, 0 on target? I don't know if you watched highlights from that game when he sat nearly 4 people down and then still ended up missing the goal. I mean, he got tackled, but
yeah.
Just a summary of how shite Sterling's season has been, man. He hit the post as well in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, say what you
I was just gonna say it sucks. It sucks that posts don't get you points for counting points or whatever, right? Even though I feel like hitting the post is a much tougher thing to do than actually scoring the goal.
I mean, your club was famous for it at one season, so
yeah.
But yeah, last point, Sergio Aguero, what a fucking goal. And probably the goal that wins them the title, right? What a servant. It's really sad to think that he might not be in the EPL anymore. Russ, you picked him. I hope you're able to get at least one goal out of him. I know I did. So hopefully you
Yeah.
can enjoy that and have some success in the playoffs. Let's take a look at Chelsea. Easy home win against Fulham. Well, kind of easy. Like the first half was kind of tough. Quick question: is it time to drop Alonso?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like in the sense that like you're gonna, because I know I sound like a broken record right now, but all of my points come back to the blank game week where you're in a playoff game. Do you drop the likes of Pulisic too for me, or even Alonso? Because like I'm trying to get minutes here. I'm trying to go up against players who will, the likes of, I don't know, Bruno or someone, and I don't want to, I want to make sure I have at least as close to full starting 11. So players like Alonso, players like Pulisic, they might get the axe.
All right. Well, it was good to see Mount as a number 6 again. Billy G partnered him. It was really good to see Billy G get some minutes. Kai Timo and Ziyech got rolled out, but bruh, Mason Mount. Oh my god, can we talk about that assist, fam?
Probably Chelsea's best player this season.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not probably.
Actually,
is Chelsea's best player.
Yeah.
This season.
Yo, since Tuchel came in, Kai has been quite a machine. How come we didn't throw him into the first round discussion? Because he's like just
because it's that rotation
out
thing,
casual
right?
braces now. Like,
yeah, but it's still that rotation thing. I don't know if it kind of continues. I saw somewhere that Kai Havertz is your highest paid player.
Yeah, is he like? Did we also pay a buttload for him, like 70 something million or something like that? 72 million?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Like, but at the same time, I'm like, it's that rotation thing for me.
Yeah.
Right. So would I pick Kai Havertz when I know that he might start 20 games?
Yeah.
Versus someone who starts regularly and will keep up those minutes, especially if you don't play with auto subs.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. All right. And like the last thing, yeah, like I mean, Fulham, they really tried, man. They nearly got a goal in that first half. Mendy had like 3 big saves, especially the third one from Aina's shot. But yeah, job done, clean sheet again, and another win for the boys. So let's make some predictions for this game.
0-0.
Ooh. Last time we played City, we beat them. Well, we
At the FA
fucking
Cup
dealt
game.
with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
And this is more a must-win game for us than it is for them. So you know what? I'm going to give us the win here. So I'm going to say that we win this 2-1. No clean sheets. All right. Some picks, Ross.
Nathan Ake, due to rotation. Fernandinho, due to rotation. Ask yourself if they'll start or not, right? But there's like players like Nathan Atkins 38% owned, Fernandinho's 33% owned. Likes of Benji Mendy are like high to mid 50ish as well, so you might still be able to get them. But will they start because of the rotation with the Champions League game and with the double game week in this game week too? So
yeah. So I could say the same reasons for Christensen then. 51% owned. I know like he's above 50, but he could see minutes based on the analysis that we looked at earlier, right? And double game week as well, so it's worth a risk. So next game, Liverpool versus Southampton. Nothing really to say about Liverpool because United fans decided to steal a corner flag and protest with good reasons. So there was no game to kind of review for Liverpool. Other than Nat Phillips is back, right? So Fabinho is probably in midfield, so we could see some goals for Liverpool in this game, but they're playing at home, right? So, don't say we didn't warn you. Let's look at Southampton, though. They had their home fixture versus Leicester, 1-1. Ings and Bertrand were missing for the game. Teller was playing left back. Went down to 10 men, right? Vestergaard, red card. Even though he got the ball, he got Vardy's ankle as well. Do you think it was the right decision?
I think it was the right decision. I think Vardy would have been able to get there and kind of score the goal. So I think it was the right decision. Yes, he got the ball, but like he did stop a goal scoring chance in that moment. So
yeah, he did. True. By the way, KWP scored an offside goal like when the game was now starting, and I've been shouting, this guy is due an attacking return. He's playing Crystal Palace as part of the double game week. A lot of right backs have scored against Crystal Palace. Kyle Walker-Peters is a right back. That's all I'm saying. All right.
So Trent,
Bro, that's all I'm saying. Trent might score in that final game. I might captain Trent in FPL for that final game week, just saying. But yeah, continuing with the highlights from Southampton. Even though Vestergaard got sent off, I thought Saliso did an amazing job on Nacho and kept him quiet for most of the game, other than when Kelechi popped up with the assist for the Evans goal. And McCarthy made some decent saves in that game as well.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you saw the comments from Hassan Hoodle talking about his keeper rotation. How apparently the next 2 games he's going to play Forster, and then the 2 games after that he's going to play McCarthy. So you might want to keep an eye on that stuff as well. Just look out for the news, or just DM us if you have any questions regarding rotation, selections and stuff. We're going to, be on top of the news, etc. So just something to kind of watch out for. Ross, let's make some predictions for this though.
2-0 Liverpool.
Man, but you guys are playing at home. Do you think you'll just win with such ease? Huh?
Make it 1-0 for you, bro.
You know what? Oh, man, this is such a weird one. Because, Fabinho's back in midfield, right? So, it's a massive difference. So, I'll go 3-0 Liverpool. Oh, man, I feel weird saying this because I honestly think Southampton's going to get something from this. The assets, who are you going to suggest?
Nat Phillips, 32% owned, and James Milner, 6% owned.
How is Nat Phillips still under 32% owned? That makes no sense. This guy is a points machine.
I don't know.
Okay, Southampton, I'm going to suggest Fraser Forster because of the Hasenhüttl comments, 2% owned. He might be a shrewd pick to have for this double game week. Also, Salisu, 2% owned. While Vestergaard's out, he might be a decent pick to have. Final one I'm going to suggest, Nathan Redmond, 41% owned. Because Ings is injured, Southampton need goals from somewhere, right? Alright, let's look at the next game, Wolves versus Brighton. Quick notes from their previous games. Wolves had a away game with West Brom. They had a 1-1 draw. They started with a back 4 against West Brom and actually dominated the game because of this. Because West Brom actually set up with a back 5 to counter Wolves' back 4 or back 5. Oh my god, this sounds really confusing now. But yeah, it's because Bowley missed out because of the heart issues. That's why they kind of switched to the back 4. Silva got his goal again, although it was kind of a deflection goal. Semedo actually smashed it this game, nearly scored as well. It hurts me to see him do well every time because I can just picture in the back of my head Daniel just snickering, Because, man, Semedo is just a terrible defender when you watch him play. Like, you watch good attackers go up against him and the guy gets skinned every single time. But, man, terrible defending for the Diagne goal. Like, there was zero marking from Cody and co. Like, man, Wolves just need the season to end. Alright, Brighton, they had their 2-0 win against Leeds. Domination from possession standpoint as usual. And, they had a good press setup to kind of maintain their position and win it back from Leeds all the time. That guy Welbs, yo. You saw that goal? That first touch?
Oof.
What class. What class.
Yeah, man.
They did look like they had nervy moments when Leeds started to attack them. But yeah, it just seemed like standard Brighton, Get into good positions, not finish them off, right? Trossard had a few of those, to be honest. But the only question I had for you from this game was Yves Bissouma. You think he deserves a move to a bigger club?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Only because Liverpool are looking at snatching him up. But I think he's in his ball movement, his ball control, his ability to find passes, right?
Not to win the ball back, mainly.
And exactly. So, he's got a good shot on him too, if you kind of see that.
Yeah.
So, but I know a lot of clubs, the likes of Bayern too, are also kind of looking at him. So
yeah. All right, let's make some predictions, Russ.
1-1.
Ooh, that is a nice prediction. Wolves don't score a lot, and Burnley like to kind of keep clean sheets, but they also both. Ugh. I feel like this has a 0-0 all over this. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. So picks, Ross. Who do you have?
Fabio Silva, 16% owned, and Ait Nuri, if he's still starting, 35% owned.
Yeah,
So
he's popping up with those set pieces every now and then. For Brighton,
yeah,
standard set of picks that I'm gonna suggest: Burns, Sanchez, Webster, and Welbeck. All under 50% owned. Go pick them up. Maybe be careful because their last couple of fixtures are kind of tough versus Manchester City and versus Arsenal. So you're gonna wanna be mindful of your playoff assets and what fixtures they have, right? All right, let's look at the next game: Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Quick notes about Aston Villa: they had their 2-1 away win against Everton.
yep.
Ollie Watkins, man, what a guy, what a hustler. He honestly deserves everything he's gotten this season.
Yeah.
Did you notice he was chewing gum, by the way, when he scored his goal?
No, I did.
Yeah.
Just a weird thing to notice.
For some reason, I was like, is that gum in his mouth? But yeah, Ollie can do it all, man. He could have had a first half hat trick in this game alone. But yeah, the Clarendon Blue Boys, they performed so nicely. Barkley played well, hit the post. Traore played well. LG scored a worldie. He hit the post as well. And I mean, if Grealish is truly coming back, then they could have a stellar double game week, right? For Manchester United, again, nothing to talk about because they had that postponed fixture. They should be in the Europa League final as well because of their massive result against Roma. Let's look at some assets. Ross, you have anyone to suggest?
No, not really from Aston Villa. Like, it's one that the likes of Douglas Luiz are available and it's a double game week, but most of the players are gone. I think everyone who wanted an Aston Villa player got them really quick and have just held on to him for the whole season.
Yeah, true. For Manchester United, because it's a double game week, I'm going to suggest Fred 25% owned and Henderson 46% owned. Just, easy possible points. And United tend to finish the season strong. And their last fixture is up against a goal-shy Wolves. So, something to consider. Predictions. What are you going to go for?
2-1 United.
Oh. You know what? I will go for a 3-0 United. Heavy defeat. I know, right? All right, let's look at the next game. West Ham versus Everton. Quick notes about West Ham. I didn't really watch this game. I was kind of busy because it was like the middle of the workday and stuff like that. But Antonio was back. Cresswell's back.
Yeah.
Lanzini got 90 minutes. That was very interesting to see.
Exactly.
I don't think Lanzini's gonna be starting several games for the rest of the season. It's just like rotation issues for them, I think. But Antonio could have scored a hat-trick. That was the biggest thing that I kind of took away from this game. Jesse was a little quiet, not gonna lie. From Everton, they had another home loss. Oh my god, their home form is so bad. So bad. James again pulled up in the warm-up for this game against Aston Villa. Holgate is so sus, bro. I have no idea why Keane got benched for this game. Like, I honestly think, Holgate is one of their worst centre-backs this season. I know he has the potential to play well, and we've seen him play well, but just that game that he had versus Spurs, the sloppy defending for the Kane goals, when I saw the starting lineup, I was like, bruh, Everton 100% gonna concede. It was bad. And you know what? That's how they kind of conceded, was through Holgate, just trying to be a smartass. Ollie Watkins, with that high pressure, won the ball and put it in the back of the net, right? It was good to see Dean back on corners as a Dean owner, right? Because James was out injured, so we could see a potential rise in the value of Luka Dean for the playoffs.
Yeah. And the combo you had with the Dean and the DCL.
Almost
right?
got it twice actually, because they had a second chance that DCL should have scored. It was a really good save from Emi Martinez. I do have one request though. Richarlison, can you please practice your shooting, mate? You get so many chances and so many are off target. It is so frustrating to watch. Oh my god.
Yeah. Lots of potential assists just going out the window there.
Ancelotti called this guy a Ballon d'Or winner, man, or like candidate. Like, I get why he said that, but not if he's gonna like shoot everything off target like this. Alright, let's look at
Yeah.
some picks.
Okay. So I know Benrahma 25% owned, Lanzini 10% owned. I know we talked about whether or not they start, but I'm looking forward to, like, you know, when there's the blank game weeks and you have players like these are starting.
Yeah.
If you've secured your playoffs and if you're playing playoffs and you secured it, maybe try going for players now rather than trying to go for them when they're off the waivers, when you don't know if you're going to get them, right?
Yeah.
So things to kind of keep out for.
Yeah, so from Everton, I'm going to suggest Godfrey 19% owned and Pickford 37% owned. I think Godfrey is kind of nailed just because Ancelotti favors him as, like, of all the centre-backs that they have, that are at least fit, you know, right now. And Pickford just because double game week, right? Saves potential, points potential.
Yeah.
They've got an easy double game, not double game week. They've got an easy blank game week fixture against Sheffield United. Right, so that's another keeper that you could kind of look out for. All right, let's make some predictions.
2-2. I haven't done a 2-2 this time, right?
Yeah, you haven't.
2-2.
You know, that's a really good shout, but I'm going to go for the classic 3-2 to Everton. Everton is playing away, you know? And West Ham love conceding 3 goals or having 3 goals as part of their game. So yeah, that's my prediction. Everton win. Alright, let us look at the next game. Arsenal versus West Brom. And this is the final one of the single fixtures before we dive into the doubles, right? No, actually I lie. Fulham Burnley is the last one. Wow, I'm all over the place for this pod. Alright, quick notes on Arsenal. They had their away win versus Newcastle, 2-0. Rotation. But you know what? Martinelli is back with a bang.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's one of those things where, okay, if they're playing the Thursday game, especially for this upcoming game week, if you see kind of the lineup and see the likes of who's starting or not, because like Partey got benched and he played, I think, almost a full game against Villarreal again in Europa, right? So just things to kind of watch out for, especially if they want to make a big push for the Europa win to get them back into the Champions League.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Elneny with his first goal for Arsenal in the league, I believe. And Luis picked up an injury, which is kind of critical to the way they play. Because his ability to switch the ball from flank to flank from centre-back is something that I don't think Arsenal have a replacement for. And if he were to come back, I suspect that they would rest him for the Europa League final, as that's one of the most important games for the rest of their season. For West Brom, they had their 1-1 draw at home. Again, they started this game with a back 5, but then Big Sam made a first half change, switched it to a back 4, brought on Matty P. There was ridiculous weather for this game. So much rain. It was very, very difficult to play. And you could tell who has the higher IQ on the pitch versus who doesn't based on how they adapt their game on the conditions. Like, Ruben Neves was everywhere, bro. Like, this guy was everywhere. Like, because it's one of those situations where if anyone crosses it or puts it into the box, you just kind of need to put yourself in the position, right? Because the ball's not going to travel very far. So you just need to be in the spot, in the position. And you could tell Ruben Neves was just trying to be in the right spot at the right time. So yeah, oh man, I love that guy. It's so good to see him as a proper Fantrax asset this season.
I know. He had like 15 ball recoveries. I think we should talk about how many ball recoveries players get.
Yeah.
Because
definitely. Like ball recoveries is something that has changed the value of so many players this season. So many, man. And it's something that we should definitely consider even as a mini segment, like the added scoring stuff that we kind of did this season. And the difference it's had on the value of players. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Crazy. Let's make some predictions, though.
2-0 Arsenal.
Ooh, simple. Are you sure Arsenal's not going to be on the down?
Arsenal's on the up, right? Arsenal's on the up.
Okay. All right, then you know what? I'm going to go for a 4-0 Arsenal win. Similar result that they had, earlier in the season when they had that snowstorm. Let's talk about some picks, though.
Martinelli 49%, Matt Ryan 11%, Gabriel Magalhaes 39%, Callum Chambers 10%, Rob Holding 27%.
Ooh, I want to give a small shout out to Kieran Tierney. I don't know what his percentage ownership is, but he's back in training, right? So you might want to be careful with the Chambers pick. Not sure if maybe Chambers gets the right hand side and Tierney gets the left, or Chambers gets played on the left. So just something to watch out for.
69%.
Hey, so you definitely want to pick up Tierney, like just because of that, right? All right. The picks that I'm gonna suggest: Diagne, 37% owned, and Johnston, 52% owned. If you can get him, get him. He put like 9 saves in back-to-back games. I know we're a family pod, but we've made some really crass jokes on this episode. Anyways,
Yeah, I know.
let's look at the next game: Fulham versus Burnley. So quick notes about Fulham. They had their 2-0 loss. Ross, the only thing I wrote in my notes about Fulham was the lyrics to a Linkin Park song, and it goes as such. They tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
Sanji, I love that if this pod doesn't work out, you can go start up a recording studio.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. But yeah, for Burnley...
/S.
Oh, Lord. For Burnley, they had their home loss to West Ham. Yeah, I mean, Burnley, we've been talking about them. They're just playing so open right now. They're literally just trying to outscore their opponent, and they're not able to. So
I really like it.
Yeah,
you know what?
it's
It's a
so
good
refreshing.
change of pace for Burnley.
It really is,
Yeah.
man. And honestly, if you're sad about the results, Burnley fans, you have one of the funniest managers in the league. So it's a win-win, right? Let's make some predictions, though.
3-1 Burnley.
Yeah, I like that. You know what, though? I think Burnley might be able to keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Fulham. 2-0 Burnley win. I nearly gave Fulham the win. Yeah, simple, you know. Wood with his brace. Points that I don't need. Points that I need, you know. What about some picks that you have?
Only one that really kind of stands out is Mitrovic, 38% owned.
Yeah, hopefully
I know the defender... I know the defenders are there and all this. And maybe for the double game week, you can maybe look into more players. But for the most part, like that's the only one that does sound out as like having a huge impact from this game.
Yeah, and the picks that I'm going to suggest, Charlie Taylor, 23% owned. I know he shot the bed in this most recent fixture, but I mean, it was a kind of a tough fixture, right? This is a bit of an easier one, for sure. And Brownhill, 19% owned, but the reason I suggested him is, again, he's just one of those kids that just gets ghost points for just doing his job. And if you are really, really desperate for a player, especially in like the blank game week, consider him. Alright, so now we've gotten to the double game week fixtures. We're not going to really discuss the teams and do the preview, etc. We're just going to smash out predictions, picks, and yeah, let's see how we go.
Yep.
Southampton versus Crystal Palace. How do you see this one going?
0-0.
Really? Crystal Palace? Like, you know...
Without Zaha, right?
Yeah, without Zaha. So, so let's do the with Zaha, without Zaha.
Did you do with Zaha or last time?
I believe my one was with Zaha because I had a draw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, let me do without Zaha.
Yeah.
Let me do with Zaha, sorry. Let me do with Zaha this time.
Okay.
1-0 Crystal Palace.
Okay, so then without Zaha, I'm gonna do 1-0 Southampton. Kyle Walker-Peters scoring the goal, just saying. Just saying. Alright. Picks that we're gonna suggest.
Same ones from before. Forster, Salisu, Redmond, and maybe even like Theo Walcott, 26% owned. That's one that we didn't mention before. So if you are listening to this after the first Southampton, maybe take a look at Theo Walcott too if he's starting.
Okay. And Crystal Palace, I'm not going to suggest anyone because it's Crystal Palace. All right, next game. Manchester United versus Leicester. How do you see this one going?
1-1.
Ooh. I'm going to go for a 2-1. I just want Leicester to drop points. That we just need Leicester to drop points. That's all we need to happen, right?
Yeah.
But if we really kind of want to dissect the game a little bit, it's just that I think Manchester United is just going to be the better team, right? They just do have the better team. What about some assets to suggest?
Same ones as suggested before. Fred 25%, Henderson 46%, right? Double game week, good shout out in terms of like, especially players like Fred, because Pogba's playing on like the left wing or something, instead of like in the middle. So
okay. And the same for Leicester, Ross. I don't think anyone's available, right? But if you have the auto subs and all Brighton is free and you're really, really desperate for players, throw them on your bench, you might get lucky. Alright, next game. Chelsea versus Arsenal. How do you see this one going?
2-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an easy win for us. I will go with 1-0. I think maybe Arsenal's defense will hold up a bit more. What are the picks that you're gonna suggest?
From Chelsea, same, like Christensen, the 51% owned. Like, keep an eye out kind of who's starting, who's not starting. Maybe Bobby Gilmore gets another nod again. Did you see that video where like he had like a camera strapped to his chest everyone was looking at him, be like, "You're so small, and he was like, "No, it's strapped to my chest." Be like, "Don't lie, it's strapped to your head." And he's up at like Mason Mount's chest area.
Yeah. Oh, quality bands.
It's funny.
Arsenal assets though, Ross, same ones that you suggested before. Martinelli, 49% owned. Gabriel Magalhaes, 39% owned. Callum Chambers, 10% owned. Holding, 27% owned. Matt Ryan, 11% owned. Maybe be careful with the Matt Ryan one, because who knows what Arteta will do with his goalkeepers and rotating them. But yeah, those are the ones that we're going to suggest. Last game. Aston Villa versus Everton. How do you see this one going?
Gonna end it off with a Ross special 2-2.
Nice. I will give Everton the reverse result though. 2-1 win, since Aston Villa, pipped them to it. Everton's away form is what's kind of saved them this season. So I'm just gonna keep riding that away form. Picks from Aston Villa?
Same, most of the players that are from Aston Villa are probably gone. I think even like Trezeguet would be one to shout out, or like El Mohammadi, but I don't think they're gonna start. I don't think Trezeguet is back, and El Mohammadi probably won't start over Matty Cash.
Yeah, and same ones from last time that I suggested for Everton. Godfrey, 19% owned, and Pickford, 37% owned. Yo, man, we done. Yes.
It was a long ass
pod, bro. How you feeling though? It was good stuff though. I mean, I think we gave good information. I mean, do you kind of just want to like end things off with like talking about like the double and the blanks and like any sort of strategies that we kind of want to cover last minute before we sign off?
My only strategy at this point is not to worry about this game week from playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like I've said that multiple times. I don't know how many leagues play with playoffs and don't play with playoffs, right? Yeah. So if you think your playoffs, or if this is a make or break game week for you, if you're like trying to qualify for playoffs and stuff like that, I think, like you said, Southampton are one team to kind of watch out for, and Everton might be a team to kind of watch out for. But other than that, everything's kind of up in the air. Players are probably gone for the other teams anyways.
Yeah. And I guess the same thing that you mentioned previous episodes, be wary that your double game week players get locked into their positions, right? You don't want to end up in that situation where Gareth Bale is in the wrong position on your bench, so you can't auto sub him in, right? So you kind of want to try and have that foresight, but also have that sort of planning that, make sure you're not fucked in a sense. And it's the same thing that Ross is saying, that you know what, maybe just consider dropping players now, like taking risky drops, right? Just to make sure that you get that win for sure. Because I'm not sure if leagues across, Twitter or the community operate the same way we do, but like the people who don't make playoffs, we tend to have this sort of common agreement or understanding that they don't really touch the waiver pool because they have nothing to play off. Because we don't have that sort of like consolation playoffs like we do in like NBA and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something to kind of be mindful of as well. Again, we talk about maybe having some fab money, right? For those leagues with fab, you could end up with some really tasty picks. You know, if Ross is gonna drop the likes of like Aspi or Pulisic and stuff like in leagues, I might try and pick them up, bro. Like, just saying, I might get lucky in this playoffs. You never know, right? We've got some crazy managers that do crazy, crazy things every season. So you never know how that's gonna swing. But last thing is there any final points, final touches? No?
No, man, I'm just happy I made the playoffs and my teams are in good form and I'm just hopefully I can make a good run, right? You need to only win 3 games and I hope I can win 3 games.
All right. Well, on that note, Ross, why don't you remind listeners how they can message us and share our episodes?
So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is @BantaB. On Discord in the Draft PL channel, our username is BantaBoys #6585. On Reddit, our username is u/Banta_boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube, and many more platforms under the name of Banta Boys.
Yeah, so check us out. You know what? Good luck this game week, everyone. Ross, good luck. Happy that both of us are in playoffs for both the leagues. Guys, remember, we're still in the height of the pandemic, so brothers and sisters out in India, please stay safe. Wishing you the best, wherever you are, not even just India. Stay safe, wash your hands, follow all the guidelines, follow all the rules. We're still, we're not out of this, so, try to ease up the healthcare system as much as possible. And go get vaccinated if you can, right? Yeah. Other than that, Ross, I will see you on the next episode then, brother.
Right. Peace.